No, it was a group of detectives.
He's been charged as a result for traveling,
For resisting arrest. That's right, he ran from us. He didn't want to go to jail. He had meth. He was also charged with attempted lewd battery and transmission of some very ugly stuff that he thought was going to a 13-year-old child. So it would have been a grand slam week for all of our resources and efforts if we'd have just gotten Timothy Finley, who thought he was traveling to meet a child.
It's pretty nervy if you think about it. He was showing up at the child's
residence
when he thought mom and dad weren't.
when he thought mom and dad.
But he wasn't alone.
But he wasn't alone.
Then there's Shannon Johnson.
He's 41.
Orlando. You know, it's interesting the Orlando stations aren't here today. They should be, because they got a lot of these
problems over,
and the community over there needs to be made aware of it. He thought he was
communicating with a 13-year-old child.
He wanted to be her daddy.
He wanted to be her daddy.
He wanted to have
different kinds of sex with what he thought was a 13-year-old child.
He works at a warehouse.
He was charged with traveling, attempted lewd battery, transmission of photos of himself, nude photos, you know what I mean? And he didn't have any children himself. But he wanted to play this game.
That's right.
He has a criminal history.
When we arrested him, he said, "You got me."
He said, "You got me. You're right. We got me." So if we'd arrested two child predators, that would have been a grand slam week. But we got another. This guy's from Gainesville.
They are from Orlando, so it could be dealing with some Disney Park shit
He
too.
did not travel, but he communicated with what he thought was a 14-year-old child online and said, "Don't tell the cops." And then he sent videos and still doing things an adult should never do in the presence
or publicly
or recorded for public consumption. Nasty stuff. Rose here, Jody Rose, is a nasty, nasty guy. He's 36 years old. So we traveled to Gainesville to get him. We had the electric officer
to get him. When we arrested him, he said,
"It's just
maybe a misunderstanding on his part. It's not a misunderstanding on our part. He was sending nasty videos and
photographs to children.
No criminal history up until now. But now he's got 11 felony charges, so he made up for lost time with his arrest. That would have been a grand slam if we'd
only got 3.
Then there's Xavier Jackson.
He's 27.
Oh, his life matters. He better not be on the pedophile list, huh?
He sent photos of him
doing things
that's totally inappropriate. He did not travel. So once again, the orange
and travel to
arrest him, where he was charged with 3 counts of harmful material and 1 count of
Oh, did I mention that he just happens to be a lifeguard at the Polynesian Resort for Disney? You think there's a few children around there? That's right. I didn't stutter. He was a lifeguard at the Polynesian Resort for Disney. He was bragging about that. So we were able to arrest 4 predators in this operation.
This is huge.
Four
4 arrests of this magnitude in a week is simply remarkable.
But let's move on.
These
guys
on.
weren't predators.
These weren't predators, but they
with the last arrest.
with the last
They work
arrest.
for Disney.
They work for Disney.
So you have
Fidel. Fidel. He's 24. He lives in
He thought he
Orlando.
was coming for sex.
He thought he was coming for
He's
sex.
been a Disney employee
He's
for
been
4 years.
Disney employee for
And he
4
works at
years.
the Cosmic Restaurant.
He's at the Cosmic Restaurant in Tomorrowland.
Now he is in the county jail.
County jail.
Paid bond yet.
Paid bond.
And then there's
And then there's
Malav,
Shahab
27.
He's
He's a
27.
software developer
He's a software
for Disney.
for Disney.
He's worried because he's
He's
here on a
worried.
work visa from India. He thought he was coming to have sex.
He thought he was coming to have sex.
Ladies,
Ladies,
surprise,
once again,
undercover detectives.
undercover detective.
Then there's Ralph Lease.
And
He's
there's Ralph
45.
Lease. He's
He lives in
45.
Winter Garden.
He lives in Winter Garden.
He's an IT employee.
IT employee for
for
Disney.
years, and he's married.
Years.
So I'm sure Disney's not.
So I'm sure Disney
I bet his wife's not pleased.
bet his wife,
But we're pleased that we
but
arrested
we're pleased that we arrested.
I'm going to tell you about a traffic.
I'm going to tell you about a
It's not often we arrest.
It's not often we
traffickers
arrest
at the undercover site,
the undercover side,
but we did.
but we did.
And normally, when we arrest
Normally,
traffickers
when we
at the
arrest
undercover site,
at the undercover
it's a male.
it's about
Let me introduce you to Tiffany now.
introduce you.
She was the trafficker of
She
the
was
young
the
lady.
trafficker
Tiffany's
of the young
32 years of age.
32 years of age.
Why she's not been
Why
busy
she's not
committing crime? Because she has
Crime.
60
Because she has
previous criminal charges.
previous
41 of them felonies and 20 as misdemeanors. She's the manager of the Kentucky Fried Chicken in Orlando.
Fried
Now, I just don't believe I'd want any finger-licking good chicken that she gets. Just saying.
Just say,
What she does is she would set up the deal. And then she would force this young lady, this victim.
young lady
This bill was for $300.
was for 3.
If this lady were lucky, she would get $20. So the lady, the victim,
So the
put
lady
over, followed by Tiffany, to make sure that the deal went right, and Tiffany got her money. As soon as we took the victim down, ostensibly for an arrest, this wonderful team determined she's a victim. So she's not criminally charged, and she's not up here on this board because she's immediately turned over and treated as a victim, not a criminal suspect in an event. So Tiffany's been charged with human trafficking, deriving proceeds, possession of cocaine, possession of meth, possession of paraphernalia, and guess what? She's not managing the Kentucky Fried Chicken place today. She's in our county jail. And we don't serve finger-licking good chicken there. The victim has been turned over for services. Then with Daniel Peters, 66 years old.
66 years old.
He thought he was coming for a girlfriend experience.
Girlfriend.
Kind of a date. Kind of went on an escort site.
He went on an escort
Oh,
site.
can I show you the other picture
I'll show you
of
the other picture
Daniel Peters?
of Daniel Peters.
This is the Honorable Daniel Peters, who is a retired judge.
Who's a retired
in Cook County,
judge
Illinois,
in Cook County,
or the dishonorable
the dishonorable
Peters from Cook County, Illinois.
Cook County, Illinois.
And
Yeah,
we were
that
doing
judge is
our
involved too.
investigation
Investigation
to
to
validate all of this. What did we find out? He also retired from
the
Sheriff's
County
Office,
Sheriff's
according
Office.
to him. That's right. He said
That's right. He said he was a special
affairs. And he worked. Are you ready?
And he
for this?
worked. Are you ready
In
for
the
this?
Office of Professional Regulation,
Professional
where he was a
Regulations,
director.
where he was a director.
You kidding me, right?
You
No,
kidding
I'm
me,
not
right? No, I'm not kidding.
As my
Old grand, or my old back. Fact.
he said, quote,
He said,
I've been on
quote,
the other side of
I've
this.
been on the other side
Well,
of this.
I'd like to ask him today.
So which side do you like best?
Now that you have been
Now that you have been in the prosecutor,
judge,
you've been the judge,
attorney's office,
you've been at the state attorney's office, and now you're the defendant.
Up in the
So,
county jail.
up in the
He
county
says he lives in Palos Hills, Illinois.
Palos Hills,
He
Illinois.
requested an attorney.
He requested an attorney.
Well, Judge, you need
Well,
an
Judge,
attorney. You got problems.
You got problems.
He went to jail.
He went to jail in Polk County.
Then there's Richard Jackson.
Then there's Richard
He thought
Jackson.
he was coming for a sex.
He thought he was coming for
This
sex.
guy wouldn't be particularly
This guy
interesting.
wouldn't be particularly interesting.
He lives in Orlando.
He lives in Orlando.
At a family
But he worked at a family
called
amusement
Fun Spot.
park called the Fun
Around
Spot.
children.
Around children.
Around a lot of people.
Around
We
a
thought
lot
it
of people.
was worthy
We
for
thought it's
people to know.
worthy for people to know. If you go to the Fun Spot, if they still employ him, you need to know that he
illegal things for money.
illegal things.
And then there's Nelson Cruz.
There's Nelson Cruz.
Now we got this thing going.
And we got this thing going for the best. So food restaurant.
He is a manager.
Are people who realize
Cracker Barrel in Altamont
Barrel
Springs.
in Altamont Springs.
He's married.
He's married.
He's worried as well
He's
because
worried
he's here
as
on
well
work
because
visa
he's here on
from Honduras. He thought he was coming to have
He
sex.
thought he was.
Now he lives in Altamont, but obviously
He lives in
hasn't got
but obviously hasn't got.
You know why he said he did this?
You know why
Are
he
you
said
ready
he
for
did
this?
Are you ready for
He had an argument with
He had
his wife.
with his wife?
So he decided that
So he
I'll just go
decided
have an event.
I'll just go have an event with him.
I bet his wife's not happy.
I bet his wife's just
Gets
guessing.
arrested. And we don't serve Cracker Barrel at the jail, so he won't have to worry about
So
seeing
you won't have to worry about seeing
delicious food, nutritious.
delicious food, only nutritious food.
And then there's James Compton,
And then there's James Conrad,
graphic designer.
the graphic designer.
He wanted to have all
He wanted to have all kinds of sex.
and he wouldn't be particularly
And
interested,
that would be particularly interesting,
except for the fact
except for the fact his 17-year-old son was refereeing a youth soccer game across the street. Hey, I guess he just got tired, right? Let's see. My son's refereeing this youth soccer tournament. I don't have anything to do. I think I'll go across the street myself for the price.
There's your all-American.
There's your all-American dad. So he has a criminal history back in 1998 for lewd battery.
So the night's wrapping down.
So the night's wrapping down.
We have arrested
This child predator who resists
So we have to
bond. So we have to pay him.
our protocol.
As is our protocol.
You have an ambulance running
You
EKG. We have to call an
And we have to call
on the scene and a fire truck shows up.
fire truck shows up.
We've got another undercover deal.
We've got another undercover deal.
So our undercover blow off the deal.
Try to blow off the deal.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Hey, we'll do it tomorrow.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
There's a guy by the name of
There was a guy by the name of Phillips and Christina Harris
coming from
coming from
Bradenton.
Bradenton. Christina is Seth's girlfriend. Follow this.
Bradenton.
Coming
We're
from
there to be
Bradenton.
paid.
We're there to be paid $1,000 to have sex with two undercover people.
This is going to be $1,000.
$1,000 in their pocket. They're going to have sex. It'll be a great evening.
However,
However,
Seth left his
Seth
wife at home.
left his wife at home.
He shows up with his girlfriend. So he gets in the area. We got the guy resist. Now we got to have the fire ambulance
there.
the EKG strip. So
EKG strip.
we
We text our undercovers, text and say, hey, the cops are here. Pull them to the tree.
ambulance is here,
Ambulance is here, fire truck's here. We'll do it tomorrow night.
Seth, who's a former Marine.
Seth, who's a former Marine and a Lyft driver, is not happy.
So here's what he says. I'm mad.
I'm mad.
I've come all the way over here.
I've come all the way over here
$1,000
for $1,000, and now you're blowing me
You
off.
are going to pay me $100
You are going to pay me $100
for the ball of meth.
for the ball of
You
meth.
are going to pay me $500
You are going to
ball
pay
of
me
meth.
$500 for the cancellation.
If not,
If not,
you better have a lot of friends.
you better
with
have a
guns.
lot of friends with guns and a chopper.
You'll
He had a lot of
sleep
friends
well.
with guns.
You'll
and guns.
sleep well.
Hey, knowing
you
that
pay-
the boogeyman won't come. And then he continued to threaten.
And then he continued to threaten.
And guess what?
And
He
guess
showed
what?
up.
He showed
That's
up.
right. The ambulance had
That's
cleared
right.
out.
The ambulance had
Fire
cleared
trucks
out.
cleared out.
Fire trucks had
We
cleared
shut the
out.
operation down.
We
for
shut the
night.
operation
The
down
detectives
for the
were in
night.
house.
The detectives
When they
were in the
noticed on
house.
camera,
When they noticed on the
a car
camera,
pulls up.
a car
This
pulls
guy
up.
gets out of the car.
This guy
along with
gets out of the
Christina.
car along with
He
Christina.
does not walk to the house.
He does not walk
sprints
to the house. He sprints to the
Gun
house,
in
gun in hand.
You see where this is going.
You see where this is going.
So our detectives, who
So
are-
our detectives, who are simply the very best,
they say to themselves, "Self,
they say to themselves,
we ought to
"Self,
have a gun.
we think we ought to have a
Since this guy
gun.
has just arrived,
Since this guy has
gun
just
in
arrived,
hand."
gun in
We open the
hand.
door.
We open the
four of our
door
guys
with
guns.
four of our guys
And
with guns,
He's got a gun.
and
above
he's
his
got
head.
a gun above his head.
He's coming down.
He's coming
with his
down
gun.
with his gun.
Christina
Christina
jumping
saves his
in.
life by jumping in front of him.
He puts the gun.
He
in his
puts the
waistband,
gun
so we don't
in his
know if
waistband,
he's
so we
bringing it
don't know
down
if
to
he's
point
bringing
at
it down to
or
point
he's
it at
counting
us,
4 guns
or
and
he's
he
counting
brings it
4
down
guns
to
and he brings it down to
It is
put.
that
It
close
is
to a
that
shooting.
close to a shooting.
Microseconds.
Microseconds.
We take him into custody.
We take him into custody.
He's charged.
He's
With
charged
4 counts of aggravated
with 4
assault
counts of
with a
aggravated assault with a firearm,
attempted robbery,
attempted robbery,
possession of meth,
possession of meth,
extortion by threat.
extortion by threat.
Christina's charged with prostitution.
Christina's charged with
and
prostitution
possession of heroin.
and possession of heroin.
And he made the statement during the
And he
interview.
made the
became
statement during the
totally
interview. He
cooperative
became totally
at this
cooperative
point and said,
at this point
"You
and
would
said,
have been right to shoot
"You
me."
would have been right to shoot me."
Well, I appreciate his
Well, I appreciate his
understanding of the gravity
understanding of the
situation.
gravity of the situation.
But
You'd
because
have been right.
But
Hey,
because
what?
our detectives
did exactly what was right,
did exactly
and
what
because
was right,
Christina
and because
got in
Christina
the way, and
got
she
in the
gets
way,
credit
and she gets credit
as well for him being
as well
alive
for
today.
him being alive today,
Because this was a very
because
tough
this was a
situation.
very tough situation.
I'm going to turn the podium over.
I'm going to turn the
quickly
podium
to
over real
first
quickly
Chief
to
Andy Ray,
Chief
a
Andy
friend of
Ray,
mine and a
a dear friend of mine and a professional
law enforcement executive, as
law
are my
enforcement
other
executive,
friends
as
and
are
colleagues
my
here
other
today for a
friends
few
and
comments.
colleagues here today for a few comments. Chief.
Good morning. Just like to point out the hard work of the detectives from the Sheriff's Office and from our agencies that assisted them as well. I know how much work goes into this. It's a ton of work, and so great job for everybody that's here.
I'd also like to point out, like the sheriff,
like the sheriff did,
we don't just do it as a law enforcement.
we don't just
agency.
do it as a law enforcement agency. We also have other
Are in the
agencies
business
that
of helping
are in the
children
business
and
of
victims
helping
in cases
children
like
and
this.
victims in
Save
cases
Freedom,
like this.
One
So,
More Child,
Save Freedom, One More Child, the Department of Children and Families, for children.
Everybody is
Um,
involved in this
Everybody
because
is
it's important.
involved in this because it's important and because
of
the
human
victims
trafficking
of
and
human trafficking and the sex business
deserve our help and need our
deserve our help and need our
We're
help.
glad
So,
to be a part of it. We're glad to
be a part of
look
it.
out for the
We're glad
interests
to
of
look
kids
out for the interests of kids and
cases.
the victims in these cases.
We're happy to
And
be a part of
we're happy to be a part of
uh,
taking people off the street that
to your
are dangerous to your kids.
So
in the community. So thanks for the opportunity to work with you, and always a pleasure.
Good morning.
We do appreciate
Thanks, Chief Ray. We do appreciate the sheriff always having to come over and participate in these events. It's not hard for us. We define volunteers, even though it's not a lot of hard work and hours, but we always have plenty of detectives, just like the detectives. All the other agencies are great people. They come out here and work hard. And as you see, it's not one city that's an issue. It's across the county. And people come to our county. So we have to keep this up and make sure we
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
So, as the sheriff said,
I believe we got 4
predators this time. No
matter how long these
events take place, I don't know how long it's going to take before
people understand that Polk County is not going to tolerate it.
So just one
predator would have been worth the event.
I just want to thank the sheriff.
I just want to thank the sheriff. He's always asking for additional help, and I want to thank him. Thank you for having us there, and we will continue to do these events, and I'm confident of it.
Hi, my name is Mary Ann Thomas, and I am senior training for one more time. We are invited back here by Sheriff Judd, and I am honored and grateful that he invites us into victims, right alongside victims, the minute they are recovered. Like he said, we help in identifying victims when they are recovered, and the minute they are we are able to explain services that are out there for them, explain what the next steps are for them, and walk them away from that situation. This time we were able to get a trafficker, and that really makes my heart so happy. And on that note, I want to speak to you on that level as someone who has been that person. Sheriff Judd alluded to a lot of these girls are also victims, and they just didn't identify. So I want to speak to my sisters and brothers out there. Are you tired yet? I know you're listening. Please come in. Please understand. These are people who care. This is law enforcement who is on your side. Come in and talk to them. They want to help. Thank you so much for having us every year. I really appreciate it.
Good morning. My name is Miss Misty LaPerriere, and I am the law enforcement liaison for Salem. First and foremost, I want to give a big thank you to Sheriff Judd and all of the agencies operation and such a big tireless hours and efforts to remove predators from our streets and help protect our kids. I think this is very unique. Sheriff Judd does invite in victim advocates, as Mary Ann had shared, to be able to meet with the victims right there on scene and offer services. As we know, sometimes it takes 8.
There you go, people. There you go. I'll be back.